Well, hi everybody, the old naked man here. So how's your day going so far? Do you guys have any stories about the worst vehicle you ever owned? Like the worst lemon you thought ever built? Anyway, I'd like to tell you a story about the worst vehicle I ever owned. In a previous vehicle or video, um, I think I told you about my 65 Barracuda and how I just loved that car. But I was having rear end problems with it, so I decided one day I'm going to get rid of the Barracuda, and I went into the dealership and I traded it off and I bought myself a brand new 1969 Plymouth Barracuda with 383 engine in it, high performance and nice looking vehicle. Well, that was a vehicle that I wish I'd never seen. Right from the get go, I didn't have hardly any miles on it, and I started having problems. I was driving, and the alternator quit working. So I takes it into the dealership to find out what's going on. So they check it out, and sure enough, the alternator's shot. So they got to put a new alternator in. And then they hand me a bill for $70. I said, well, isn't that covered under warranty? I said, well, yeah, the alternator's covered, but this $70 is for hooking up the instruments to check out the alternator in the first place. I thought, what a bunch of BS that is. That whole thing should have been totally covered under warranty, but no, not at this dealership. So another time, after that, I'm on my way up to Sudbury to see my sister and her husband, and I get part way up there, and all of a sudden there's this noise in the engine compartment, so I pull off the side of the road, check it out, and here's the alternator, just hanging there by the adjustment arm. The bolt that held it right to the engine block had sheared off right at the block. It was right flush. And so I tied the alternator up out of the way, took the belt off, and went in this little town. It wasn't too far away. So the only thing that was open in this little town was a little hardware store. So I go in the hardware store, and I've got no tools with me. I mean, brand new car, you shouldn't need a bunch of tools. Wrong. I get in the hardware store, and of course they didn't have a bolt that would work, so I got a piece of all thread, and then I got a hacksaw so I could cut it to the proper length, and I got some extra nuts, and I bought a little center punch and a hammer, and of course had to get a pair of pliers. I didn't have anything, so go back out to the car underneath the street light, finally get this piece of broken off bolt out of the engine block, and thread this ready rod in there, like cut it off the length and thread it in there, and put a nut on to tighten it up on the block, and then get the alternator on there, and put a couple nuts on to hold it, and tighten the belt up, and that lasted for quite a while, actually. I went at least 100 miles before I could get a proper bolt for it. So I thought, what a piece of junk this is. I wish I could just take it back to the dealership, but you can't do that. So the next thing that happened, my sister moved to Toronto. So I moved up there to go and visit her, or I didn't move up, I just went up for a visit. From London, Ontario, where I lived, to Toronto, that's about a 2-hour drive. So I go up and visit her, coming home, and I leave her place about 8 o'clock at night. So I figure, well, I'll be home by 10 o'clock, that'll be great. So I'm driving along, and all of a sudden the car quits, just like that. And so I pull off the side of the road and try to start it. Well, it would start. As soon as I step on the gas, it quit. So, well, something's definitely wrong here. So the only tools I have with me is the jack and the jack handle. So I use the jack handle as a screwdriver and take the carburetor apart, Didn't see anything wrong in there. So I put it all back together, started up, same thing. Starts and runs, but as soon as you step on the gas, it quits. So I figured that the fuel pump is gone. It's just not pumping enough fuel. So I started up and I just got it on idle and go about 5 miles down the road to the service center on the 401. So I pulled in there and talked to the guys running it, and he said, "Oh no, just pull up in the parking lot and spend the night if you want." So that's what I did. So the next morning I get up, and this was on the 401, pretty major highway. So heading into town, trying to hitchhike. Well, there's no way anybody's going to stop on the 401 and pick anybody up. They're just going way too fast. So I walk 11 miles into the nearest town, get a new fuel pump, walk 11 miles back, put the fuel pump in the car, jump in, start it up, same darn thing. What the heck's going on here? So I come to find out there's a little push rod. It's about 2.5 inches long, and that works from off the cam in the engine to operate the fuel pump. So it had got bent somehow. I don't know how, but it did. So it would push it out, but it wouldn't return all the way. So it was only getting just a little bit of a stroke to operate the fuel pump. So I spent every cent I had getting this fuel pump, so I was flat broke. And so the manager at the service station says, look, he says, I've got a fella in town at a parts store picking up parts right now. I'll have him pick you up a push rod, and you can pay me for it next time you go through. So he did. I put the push rod in and worked like a dream. So I did go back later and pay for the push rod and thanked him very much. But by the time I got that in and fooled around getting the push rod out and getting it back in again and got home, it's 8 o'clock at night the next day, 24 hours after the time I left Toronto to get to my place, a 2-hour drive. So I was not impressed. Like I said, I wished I could have taken that vehicle back to the dealer, but that was just one problem after another with that vehicle. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my story about the lemon that I own. So, have you got any stories? Send me a line in the comment section or send me an email. Love to hear about your stories. I'm sure you got some real good ones. Anyway, the old naked man here. Hoping you guys all have an awesome day. And I hope you've enjoyed this story. And I hope you come and see me on my next video. So bye for now.